So in today's video, I'm gonna tell you how you can go from zero, like nothing at all, no sales, not even a website up, to 100K in just 6 months with your clothing brand. This is something that I was able to do in 6 months with my clothing brand as well. And I can guarantee you, if you use the same exact strategies that I use, you can do the exact same thing for your clothing brand, okay? Now, if you have any questions throughout the video, do not hesitate to comment. I try to answer every single comment that I get, and I do recommend taking notes because this is gonna be a lot of value in this video. Honestly, this is gonna be one of the most valuable videos that I've ever dropped on this channel. So I really hope that you take it and run with it. Because after you watch this video, there is literally nothing that you don't know. It's all gonna be about you executing the strategies that I go over in this video. Okay, so let's get into it. So the very first thing that you want to do when it comes to marketing your clothing brand is actually understand who you're trying to target in the first place with your clothing brand. I see this mistake all the time. People just create designs, but they really don't know who their target audience is. They might slap a logo on a t-shirt and hope that it sells. And right now, their clothing brand niche in general, like everybody and their mama got a clothing brand. So if you're not super specific on who your clothing brand is for and all those type of things, you're gonna really struggle to sell your brand, okay? So you wanna make sure that you pick a niche and all your designs fall within that niche. So for example, I run a Christian-based streetwear brand called Prayed Up Apparel. Everything is Christian based, right? So I know that is my target audience. It's gonna be 18 to 35 Christians that like streetwear, right? That's what it is. And so it's very easy for me to create designs because I already know what this audience likes. I already have an inkling on what is going to sell, right? And so I'm not creating designs for anybody else. I'm not doing it because obviously that's not what I do. And so when people come to my website, they already know what they're gonna get, and it's very easy to create designs for that audience, right? And so that is something that you definitely wanna be thinking about before you even create a design is who do you want to be wearing your clothes? And that is gonna dictate all your marketing strategies, but you need to be very clear on who you want to go after and who you want to wear your clothes. Now, once you are very clear on who your target audience is and you have designs that aligns with that target audience, you are now ready to set up your online store. Okay. Now you can use whatever online platform that you want. There's a bunch of them like Shopify, WooCommerce, Big Cartel, whatever. That doesn't really matter as much. Now, I am personally biased to Shopify, and if you haven't set up your Shopify store, I do have a free trial link down below. I just think Shopify is the easiest to get set up. They have really great themes, and it integrates with a lot of good software that I'm gonna go over in this video. So again, I'm very biased, but you are now ready to set up your online store. And when it comes to setting up your online store, you want to set it up for success. And to do that, you want to make sure that you install all your data tracking and analytics, okay? And so if you don't know what that is, I'm going to go over it fairly quickly, but you want to set up Google Analytics. Okay, so this is gonna allow you to track user behavior on your website. It's a little bit more accurate than Shopify's tracking. I just like Google Analytics because it's very clear. You can see how people are interacting with different pages. It'll show you, what your bounce rate is, how people are going through your website, how people are adding the cart. You can just see user behavior essentially. You could see how people are interacting with your website. So it's really good, okay? So you wanna make sure that you have that type of tracking on your online store. Then also you wanna make sure that you set up all your pixels, okay? So your Facebook pixel, TikTok pixel, whatever marketing platforms you plan to be on, make sure that you set up your pixels, even if you don't plan on running paid ads up front, but it's definitely good to do it, ahead of time because Facebook and Instagram and all these social media platforms, can use that data at a later date. If you ever plan on running ads, you're still sending that information to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, so they're understanding who your customers are. And so when you run ads in the future, right, you'll be able to get your ads to be running successful a lot quicker than if you didn't install it from the get-go. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure that you add in all your tracking, so you definitely see success later down the road. So once you have all your tracking from like Facebook, TikTok set up, and you have Google Analytics set up, you are now ready to implement your first marketing strategy, okay? And the first marketing strategy you want to implement is SEO. And that just stands for search engine optimization. Now, to be fair with you, this is the best traffic source hands down. Okay, the reason why this traffic source is so good is because it's free and people search on Google like all the time. Google has billions of searches every single month, and people are looking for the type of clothing that you sell. Okay, so for example, if someone types Christian t-shirt, I want my clothing brand to pop up, okay? Because that just means I'm gonna get more sales, okay? And people search for that thousands of times within the month. So if I can pop up number one for Christian t-shirt, I'm booming, okay? I'm making a lot of money, right? So that is something that you want to implement right away, okay? And so the first step when it comes to your SEO is that you just want to make sure that Google even knows that your Shopify store or WooCommerce or whatever your e-commerce platform is actually exists. Google needs to know that your website exists, and you do that by submitting your sitemap. Now, Shopify and Squarespace and all these other e-commerce websites, they tell you how to do it. So you want to make sure that you follow those rules, but that's how you tell Google that you exist. You submit your sitemap in the Google Search Console, right? And then it starts to, the technical term is index your website, but pretty much Google just says, hey, you exist. We're going to look over your website, make sure there's no issues, and boom, you're gonna be able to show up in search, okay? So after Google knows that you even exist, what you wanna do is start putting the specific keywords that you know your target audience is going to use to search for your clothes, okay? So example, people, within my niche use Christian t-shirt or a biblical t-shirt. These are all keywords that people use when searching for Christian apparel, okay? So you wanna make sure that you, again, do market research and figure out what do people search for in your niche, right? And you wanna make sure that you use those specific keywords in your descriptions. You wanna make sure that you use them even within your alt text, in your images. You wanna make sure that you put it in your meta description at the bottom of your product page descriptions. Like, you want to make sure that you're using all these keywords as possible, so you're pretty much letting Google know, hey, when someone searches for X, I want my website to pop up, okay? And so that is the first strategy that you want to implement, is making sure that you're using the keywords that you know your target audience will be using on your online store. So once you have your SEO in place, the next marketing strategy that you want to use is making sure that you set up your email and SMS marketing. Now, I have a full video on this to show you step by step how to set it up. And so I'm going to link it up here, but essentially you want to make sure that you have some type of way to capture email and phone numbers on your website. Okay. Now, for me personally, I like OmniSend. It is very, very intuitive and very easy to use, but you can use whatever you like. Okay. A lot of people like Postscripts for collecting phone numbers. Some people use Klaviyo or Klaviyo, whatever you call it, whatever. The platform doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that you have a way to capture email and phone numbers from everybody that comes to your website, okay? For me, I like doing pop-ups, and I kind of like gamified it. I have like a spinny wheel on my website that pops up. So that's how I collect email and phone numbers, and I give somebody a discount for putting in their information, right? So that's one way to use it. Another way that I use email and SMS is for abandoned carts. So if you add something to cart and someone doesn't buy, I have an abandoned cart sequence where I send people about 3 or 4 emails to get them to come back to their website. And then also, whenever I'm doing a drop, I use email and SMS to then let people know about drops, right? And so there are multiple ways to use it. But honestly, those are the 3 main ways that I use email and SMS marketing to get people back to my website, to collect their information, to give them a discount in the first place, and then just to use, getting the messaging out when other different marketing channels don't work. So I would definitely recommend that you use email and SMS marketing. Like, if you're not doing it, like, you're gonna lose money. You're gonna be leaving money on the table, because this is a very easy and very effective and efficient way to make a lot of money with your clothing brand. So definitely set up your email and SMS marketing. Okay, so at this point, your store is very foundationally sound, okay? You have your SEO in place, and you have your email and SMS marketing in place. So if people find your store organically, if they don't buy from you, right, or if they add to cart, you now have your email and your SMS set up so you can get them back to your store. Or if they come to your store and it's just browsing, you're collecting emails and phone numbers. So you're starting to build your email list, your phone number list. So if you do have drops, you're going to be in a good spot. But I will say, to be honest with you, when you're first getting started, SEO is not going to really work, because you're not, you really don't have any authority in your space just yet. So you are going to want to leverage another strategy to start getting people to your store, okay? And the first strategy that I recommend that you utilize is social media marketing. Social media marketing can really be transformative for new brands, and it's really a good way to figure out how your target audience resonates with your actual designs, because again, I will say your designs play a very, very big part of the success with your brand. So posting your brand on social media, seeing how people respond is going to be very, very crucial, okay? Now, when it comes to clothing brands, there are a bunch of content types that you can leverage and a bunch of social media platforms that you can leverage. But right now, if I had to pick one platform that I would recommend that you go all in on, is 100% TikTok. You need to be on TikTok if you're trying to drive as much traffic to your online store as possible, okay? But the cool thing about TikTok is when you're making that short form video, you can post that on YouTube or Instagram Reels, right? But definitely focus on TikTok. You want to be posting as much as you can. Now, from a content standpoint, you can go as extreme as you like and as basic as you like. A lot of people I've seen do success or be successful with just doing flat lay videos, just literally putting their garment on the ground and recording it and just posting it 3 to 5 times a day. You could do that. Obviously, you can model your clothes, but if you're self-conscious or you don't really feel comfortable, right, you can get somebody else to model your clothes. But essentially, you want people in the garment itself and literally just spin around. My God, you ain't even gotta really do a lot. All you gotta do is just spin around with a trending song and you gonna be all right. If, again, the garment is good. Now, as you start to expand, you definitely wanna tell your brand story. Tell people why you started the brand. You can show yourself packing orders, right? You can explain why you created a certain design. You can do like what I sent my manufacturer versus what my manufacturer sent me. Like, there's a lot of different content strategies that you can leverage. And I would definitely recommend looking at your competitors and seeing what they're doing, and then also seeing what other clothing brand owners are doing. But in general, you want to take inspiration from this content and make it your own, and then create your own style and your own voice with your brand. But social media content can be a really, really great way to drive traffic. You just need to be consistent and have a lot of volume if you're really trying to push as many sales as possible to your store. Okay, so at this point in your journey, you should start to see some type of traction, okay? Especially if you're posting on social media a lot and you have good designs, you should start to get people coming to your website and buying from you, okay? And so at this point, right, you should know what content is working and not working, and this is where you start to take your clothing brand to the next level, okay? Now, this is like a fork in the road. You can really go whichever way that you want. But for me personally, once I realized that I had good designs, foundationally, I figured out what content was working for my target audience, I moved to paid ads, okay? And paid ads is going to be one of the best ways to scale your brand the fastest, okay? Now, with full disclosure, I run paid ads for a living, so I'm really, really good at paid ads. However, if you're not really, really good at paid ads, I recommend that you check out my other videos on paid ads. But if you're really trying to get to 0 to 100K in 6 months, you're gonna have to have some type of paid advertising or just be really, really good at content, right? By all means, you don't have to run paid ads and still reach 100K, in 6 months. But for me, to see the growth that I wanted to, I had to start running ads, okay? And so for me, when I started running ads, I started off at $20 a day, and I figured out which one of my creatives was working the best, what content was doing the best, and then I just scaled every 3 days. So if I made my money back, I upped it by 20 or 30%, until I got to about $100 a day. And once I hit $100 a day, I knew I was gonna hit 10K in 30 days. And then once I got up to 250, I knew I was gonna make 30K. And then once I got up to $500 a day, I knew, okay, at that point, if I spend $500 a day, that's like 15K, I'm gonna make 50K back, right? And that's how you scale up. As long as you have a good winning creative and your conversion rate is relatively high on your Shopify store, that's how most people get to 100K in 6 months, is because they test for a month or two. And then once they figure out what's working, they just start throwing money at Ads Manager and then just rinse and repeat. And so that's what I did to reach, 100K in 6 months. Once I figured out and I had everything else in place. I had my email marketing in place, my SEO was in place, I had good designs, everything, I started booming, okay? Now, if you want a full paid ads tutorial when it comes to TikTok or Facebook ads, by all means, check out my tutorials. But yeah, that's how I personally did it. So if you don't want to go the paid ads route, I do recommend that you try out maybe the influencer route or the affiliate route. So I personally haven't done a lot of influencer marketing with my brand. I've given some shirts out for free, and I haven't really seen a lot of return on investment for it. So most of the time, if I'm gifting somebody shirts, I'm just gifting them out of the kindness of my heart. Like, I'm not trying to get any type of return on investment because there's no way to really quantify it. It's a lot harder, but I recommend that you try it out because it can work, especially if you get a very, very big influencer to wear your stuff. You can definitely see sales, but I have seen a lot of people see success with influencer marketing campaigns. But for me personally, I haven't done it, so it's very hard for me to speak on it. But I do recommend, if you can and if it makes sense, they're a big enough influencer, definitely just gift them the product. There's nothing wrong with that. Also too, you can use affiliates, Right now, TikTok Shop is booming. So if you do have your products in hand, right, if you can set up your TikTok Shop and get other people to promote your products for you and give a, small kickback for every sale that they get for you, that can make sense. I've seen a lot of people in the apparel space do very well with TikTok Shop. So that's another strategy that you can use. But personally, again, that is not something that I've personally used for myself at all. At this point, you know the exact strategies that I use to reach 100K in 6 months with my clothing brand. The only thing you need to do is execute. Okay. And so if you would like me to help you with your brand, I do offer one-on-one consultations. You can definitely sign up with the link down below. I would love to help you out and answer any questions specifically for your brand. And again, if you got value out of this video, make sure that you like and subscribe, and definitely check out this video right here because I give a lot of value in this video as well.